after the third use that this is how much hair came out my hair. Let me show you. This is how much hair came out my head. It's getting better, y'all. It's getting better. Third use. And this is how much hair came out my head. Total. And my hair So this is a month of hair loss. So yeah, I'm going to pray over it. My hair is pretty long, but I lost about 60% of my hair. I just want to tell you why I lost 60% of my hair.
I am back! What it do, baby?
There's a right and a wrong way to do your hair, and most of you are confused about shedding, so let's break it down and fix it once and for all.
But I also had a lot of shedding, and I posted in the group, again, if you're in the replay or come later in around March, just follow my post. I literally have no shed. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I actually am going to do a comparison from January where I had a lot of minuscule amount of hair. So just kind of stay with it. Don't be discouraged. Just keep along with it. Practice on a mannequin. I got a mannequin. My husband like, oh my God, here, go to, your little mannequin or whatever. But just make sure you follow it. And if you skip a day where you didn't do the journal, I literally journal my hair. I take screenshots, pictures every single day.
Let's talk about shedding. This might look like a lot of hair to some people, but I will preface that this was how much hair came out after I detangled after a protective style. Naturally, we lose about 100 strands of hair a day. And for people with curly hair, it might be even more depending on how often you wash your hair. Shedding should not be confused with breakage or unhealthy hair. When you're detangling your hair, be sure to let the conditioner sit in your hair for a little bit and add water so it can emulsify again before you start detangling. When detangling, make sure that you start at the bottoms of your hair. Follow I Am Camilla Smith for more natural hair tips.
So I will have a blog post for you to follow along with, but just straight off the top of the dome, right? Whenever you hear you lose 55 to 100 strands a day, you guys in your mind's eye picture these balls of hair being 100 strands of hair, or this big ball of hair being 55 strands of hair, and it is simply not. What you guys within whatever community you want to call it see as properly detangling your hair or as proper shedding is actually an excessive amount, which is why most of the people who used to be team natural are now thinning and balding, and they're blaming it on genetics. But this is how about 5 strands look. I'm sorry, not 5, 55 strands look. The top of the wording is cut off, but this is how 55 strands of buildup actually looks. So when you guys are combing through your hair and y'all getting those globs of hair out of the comb, that is not normal. It's not. This is what 55 strands of hair look like. And if you think about this in your mind's eye, 55 strands of your hair falling out throughout the day, you wouldn't notice just these little bit of hairs coming out throughout the day, right? And then this is what 100 strands look like. The average person is losing anywhere between 55 and 100 strands, and a lot of times the amount of shedding that you have has a lot to do with your diets, your daily patterns, the routines, and all of the things. But this is how 100 strands of hair look. You're losing 55 to 100 a day, but if you comb your hair on a regular basis, you don't worry about that. But this is what 1,000 strands of hair look like, and I'm going to break all of these things down to you in a second after we watch this next clip. But I want you to get a visual representation of what these amounts of hair actually look like. This is what 1,000 strands of hair look like, right? And most of you are pulling out way more hair than this when you just simply detangle your hair in the shower, which you're not supposed to do. Why? Because the hair is weakest when wet, and you think that you're getting slip and the brush is slipping through. Baby, the brush is, you're not getting slip. Your hair is breaking. right? So after a 30-day period, let's say you have braids in your head or something like that, and you have not combed your hair at all, this is the approximate number of strands that you would have. Somebody that's losing 55 strands a day over a 30-day period, never combing their hair, you have about 1650 strands coming out at the end of the month, right? And this is a person that's losing about 55 strands per day. You just looked at what 55 strands look like. But if you shed a lot more and you're losing 100 strands.
Natural new queen is signing in. I just got done doing my hair. I did use, this is my third time using my shampoo. You see, I used it. I fingered it tangled, and then sorry, every time, I was charging my phone while I was doing this, and the alerts. Okay, like I said, I get a lot of alerts every time I make a video. So anyway, sorry for the interruption. So yes, I used my shampoo, I fingered it tangled, and then I combed my hair lightly. And then I got out the shower. I used to use melanin, so I put my handmade oil in them old melanins. I just like, first of all, it's a dark oil that I'm using. Because it said melanin and I'm melanated. And shout out to Natural 85, the OG of OGs. So yes, my hair oil is in here that I infused and made myself. And then of course I made my butter that I showed you in my previous video. Check out my previous video. And I just wanted to show you, after the third use, that this is how much hair came out my hair. Let me show you. This is how much hair came out my head. It's getting better, y'all. It's getting better. Third use. And this is how much hair came out my head. Total.
No filter. Let me cover myself. No filter after using my shampoo. I loved it. Now, hair feels good. Scalp check. Everything's looking good. Yep. I'm gonna show you how much hair, because I remember I basically ain't washed my hair or did my hair in about a month. So this is a month of hair loss. So yeah, I'm going to pray over it. I'm going to do what I need to do. And yeah, so I am going to get ready and get myself ready and stuff. So peace. And now show you what I do to my hair, or basically I'll show you my hair after I apply product to seal my hair. And
I lost 60% of my hair. I was using Softy Grease, this aloe vera gel that they had in there, and they was braiding my hair, combing my hair with no comb. I don't know why I let them do that to me, but my hair was strong enough to combat majority of what was going on with my hair. But yeah, I lost 60% of my hair. So now my hair is down to my waist instead of being down to my butt crack. Actually, my hair, Hero's Daughter, that's the best store-bought product that I could use that wouldn't strip my hair and wouldn't do what the gel products were doing to my hair. But yeah, I'm going on a journey now.
Hair shedding is completely natural, but it can look alarming, really alarming, especially if you've gone weeks without combing or detangling your hair. So let's break it all the way down. The numbers, the visuals, and what they really mean. So how much hair should you shed daily? On average, a person sheds about 50 to 100 hairs per day. This part of the normal natural hair growth cycle is completely normal, where strands fall out so new ones can grow in. So the infographic that you are being shown right now, this is 50 to 55 strands, right? And then we have the next one that is going to show you something else, right? Because this is what you guys are used to seeing. That's 50 to 55 strands of hair right there. This is about 10,000 strands of hair, but this is what you guys have made like the standard and what you guys are used to seeing, and it's not normal. This is why over years and years and years of you doing the team natural way of detangling the hair gets thinner and thinner and thinner. But most of you will never know, because most people aren't showing you their hair straightened, because it's the devil. Remember, again, here is 50 to 55 strands, and this is what 100 strands of hair look like, right? So that is your daily shedding, right? 100 strands a day is like really normal. It's kind of standard. Remember, 50 to 100 strands. And a lot of people don't lose necessarily 100 strands a day. If your routines and patterns and your diets are different, you don't lose that much hair, right? So it's a small ball of hair, and you may not notice it unless you're brushing. Of course, you'll notice it if you don't comb and brush your hair, but this is what 1,000 strands look like. It's a much larger clump, and this is what you might see after a few days or a few weeks of not detangling, not combing your hair. This is what about 1,000 strands look like. And keep in mind, we're still not to the point that all of you are normally at. What you have made your norm, what you all think is normal shedding, this is 1,000 strands of hair. Okay, way more than what you guys have. And I want you to notice how you can still see through it, right? You can still see through it. So after 30 days losing about 50 to 55 strands a day, this is the amount of hair, around the amount that you should have. This is normal. Again, you are only having clobs of hair if you're not combing your hair on a daily basis. The woman that I showed you, y'all know how I feel about twists, so we're not going into that. If that's what y'all want to do, girl, do it, whatever. But if your hair is only in 6 twists, please explain to me why you can't take those twists out and comb your hair once a day. Oh my God, please make it make sense. Because if you do that, you don't have a clump of hair in your hand at the end of 30 days. There's no reason why you can't give yourself about 15 minutes out of every day just to freaking comb your hair, bro. Anyway, but I digress. Let's keep going. This is what 3,000 strands look like. So if you are a person who's losing about 100, a little bit more than 100 strands a day after a 30-day period, baby, you do the math. This is what about 3,000 strands of hair look like, right? But I want you to notice how there are still places where you can still see light through it, but we can just do some simple math, right? If we multiply, this is the number that we're getting after 30 days, right? And this is kind of normal, right? Depending on, your hormones and how much hair you're shedding, because within the blueprint and within the 7-day hair growth challenge, you just saw for yourself, she went from having globs and globs of hair to having like a little itty bitty ball of hair. It's like completely different, but this is the norm. This is what about 10,000 strands of hair look like, and this is the norm. This is what you guys think is normal shedding after a couple of weeks of not combing through your hair. This is not normal. This is a person who is at the beginning stages of hair shaft weathering. This is a person who's slowly breaking down their ends, slowly breaking and snapping their hair. All of the conditioner that y'all are putting in y'all head that y'all think is causing slip, you are not causing slip. When you make when the comb finally goes through, baby, the conditioner didn't do that. The hair broke. So that those globs of hair, that big ass ball of hair that y'all keep pulling out and y'all keep posting it here on YouTube and on Instagram and all of the places as if you're doing something right, you are doing something terribly wrong. What you guys see in your hand, that big old glob of hair, this is about 10,000 strands of hair, and that's not normal. You should never, I don't care that it's been a month, you should never have a ball of hair this big coming out of your hair. You are all doing it wrong. Every last one of y'all. Every last one of y'all. And anytime somebody like me comes online and says, hey, that's wrong, there's a problem. Feel how you want to feel. All of the women who are telling y'all that you are supposed to detangle your hair wet are slowly but surely getting you into hair weathering and breaking you into different forms of hair shaft disorders. And it's the truth. This is why somebody who's been natural, and this how you be detangling for years and years on end, and then you go in to see a cosmetologist, hairstylist, whatever, they put heat on your hair and then you have heat damage, baby. It's not the tools. Your hair has so many holes, so many splits, so many tears in it that once the flat iron hits it, it completely ruins your hair, and your scalp's barrier is weak, right? Because if the ends keep snapping, you are actually putting stress on the hair shaft, which sends you into telogen effluvium, which makes your shedding even worse. These are facts. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, that is up to you, but I need you to understand that when you are detangling your hair with conditioner, you are not helping. Look at this illustration. You see how there is a little knot there? Well, if you detangled your hair with oil, it will remove that knot quick. Oil without water, without any additions, that knot will untangle itself quick, and then that smaller piece of hair, that's hair they're already shedded, and it will come right out. But the way that you guys do it makes it so all of your hair breaks. So that big knot, that's actually not that big knot, but the knot that's there actually breaks too, instead of you just removing that little piece of hair that was supposed to be there. And the problem is most of us cannot get into this place where we're open to learn. This really matters because people often panic when they see a lot of hair coming out at once, but it's not always a sign of damage or breakage if the amount of hair looks like the picture of 50 to 55 or 100 strands of hair. If that's what it looks like when you comb your hair, baby, that's normal. But these balls and globs of hair that you're seeing in your hair, all of the slip from the conditioner, it is horrific. And regardless of how many videos y'all see, regardless of how many of y'all favorite people tell y'all that that's the proper way for you to detangle your hair and for you to comb your hair, it is actually the easiest way to breakage and damage, and it is the main reason why most Black women are not able to properly retain length, because you're constantly combing all of your hair out. The woman that was in the video clip that we just watched, right, she was like she lost 60% of her hair, and it was because she said she went to jail, right? She went to jail, and when she was in jail, they were using the wrong products. They were using aloe in her hair. She didn't have her oils and her grease, and they wasn't using the right combs and all of the stuff, which I would imagine they wouldn't, because you in jail, you locked up, you're not supposed to have proper, hair care practices. That's not a thing. But the problem and the issue that I have is women that do these practices years and years on end, whenever it shows up, then you guys are like, oh, it's genetic, or oh, it's because of my diet, or oh, it's because of this product I use, or oh, it's because this one girl I went to, where in reality hair weathering has just caught up with you. Nothing new has happened. Nobody did anything horrific to your hair. Nothing is wrong with the products, but now what you did this time, right? Whatever that time was the straw that broke the camel's back. But your hair has been weak, right? You've been putting oils and all of the things in the hair, and it's just real funny to me that the same products pop up every single time. I'm not even going to mention what the product is because you saw it yourself. I want you guys to get out of this state of offense so you're able to really hear and you're really able to see things for yourself. This is just a conversation. You can take it or leave it. You can believe me or you cannot believe me. It means me, no, never mind. But I want you to know that regardless, right? Regardless of the things that you've seen, regardless of the people that came before you, like there was this one lady that was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about because I've been greasing my scalp all of this time, and like so have my mom and my grandma, and they have long hair and this and that. Listen, there are a lot of people who do crack and live to be like 70 years old. My husband's uncle just passed away and he was in his 70s. Listen, just because somebody can live a life and be good does not mean that crack ain't whack. Crack is still whack. Just because one or two people were functioning crackheads and they didn't fall victim to it like everybody else did doesn't mean that crack ain't still whack. So just because you are maybe one out of freaking 2 million women who do it and didn't see a bad result doesn't mean anything. And I also want y'all to keep in mind that the way that our mothers and our grandmothers use certain products in their scalp are not the way that we use them today. When my mother did my hair when I was a little girl, she did my hair. She put whatever grease she was going to put in my hair that day. And she did not touch my hair again for about a week or 2 weeks. My mother was not getting up every morning before school and greasing my scalp. She was not doing that. My mother was not getting up every morning and putting oil on my ends. She was not. Not only that, there was reasoning behind it. For example, I was a kid. I was going to be outside in when she did put something on my scalp, it was to protect my scalp from the sun. Once you're no longer in the sun, which none of you are, all you're actually doing is blocking the pores and the follicles. That's it. That's it, and that's all. I also need you to remember that our mothers use really strong and harsh shampoos and conditioners that removed a lot of the oils and butters, and y'all barely use conditioner. I mean, y'all barely use shampoo. Okay, you're using apple cider vinegar and the freaking co-washing conditioner. So it's not the same. Stop comparing and stop pretending to be an expert when you've actually never taken the time to actually learn the science of your body. Please stop talking about how God meant for us to wear our hair when none of us have actually taken the time to actually learn God's creation, which is self, right? To actually learn the human hair shaft. If you haven't done that, stop teaching people, or just say, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I don't think you should follow this, but this is what I do. I love you guys. It is 2025 and we halfway through the year already, right? Today's the 1st. So it's 6/1/2025. So we are halfway through the year and everybody's still doing the same thing. But one thing that is different now, everything that I said was going to happen has now today came to pass. I'm going to leave some of the links in the description box below of my old prediction videos. And I really hope that you guys get out of the energy of offense 24/7, because the faster you get out of offense, the faster you'll be able to really get to work. The faster you'll really be able to give yourself the things, the tools, and the utensils that you actually need to get to where you want to be. Because I've already shown you multiple times that everything that I say, the people who listen, it works. I just showed you somebody who started exactly where y'all were, having over 10,000 strands of hair in her hand, in her brushes and combs every wash day, to now she barely has any. So if you want to keep doing the things that you've been doing, and girl, do it. Don't nobody care. Please don't leave your I have a dream speech in my comments. Girl, do your thing. But if you want to do something different and you want to learn a different way to detangle your hair, if you want to learn a new method to really break yourself out of this continuous pattern that you've been into, then make sure you check the links in the description box below. Yes, on my channel I tell you a lot of what not to do, but there are over 1100 videos here on my channel, so if you take the time you can piece things together. But if you want to be done with this fast and in a hurry, then join one of my courses or whatever, or check out one of my ebooks and all of the things. I love you guys so much, and until the next video, bye girl.